Oops. Yes, I'm here. Just don't have my camera on yet. Still doing my makeup. This is one of the patches from UniLofi. Such a kick butt library. Check this out. I can change from this lead sound. I can even keep it going. Change to the strings. All right, it's 12 o'clock. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Hope you are all doing well. This library is insane. First of all, hello, my name's John Limcool. Hands together, head bowed to all of you. It's a pleasure to see you all this Saturday. I got this library to Shane yesterday, and I didn't hear from him for a couple hours. And he goes, I just spent the last 2 hours playing with this library, and if that's any indication, it's insanely fun to play with. So it's great. So we will be looking at this. Unify 1.8 is out. This is a split, and the keyboard's purple. We've got all these really cool search abilities over here. There's a lot to show you. This is a very, very cool update. And Unify just feels that much more solid in some really nice ways. There were a couple boo-boos, and I am sorry. I'm just learning that things like the favorite instruments preset, we overwrite that when we install the update, and some of you had made your own list in the favorite instruments. I'm going to show you how to make this and how to make your own so that, because this will probably get overwritten again in the future. These are presets that we include with Unify just to get you started. So I apologize for those of you that had spent a lot of time and set up the favorites to have it overwritten. It's not intentional, but that's part of the update process. We updated so much to Unify. Went through all that stuff. But before we get into the details and we get into the library and all that kind of stuff, I have someone special that wants to say hello. Oh. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Or are you already typing replies to everybody?
Well, somebody has posted in German, so I have to translate to us so I can see what they're saying.
Look who's here. Shane Dunn is here. Hello, Shane! Yay!
Hey, how you doing?
How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you very much.
How do you feel?
I feel good. I'm just going to get rid of this picture here because there's a giant version of me that's playing on the the shot from the live stream. But
let's see here.
Now just do this.
So Shane is here to celebrate the release of Unify 1.8. Of course, I give suggestions and bitch and moan all the time, but the person that writes every piece of code for what you guys are working with is Mr. Shane Dunn. So much respect and thank you to you for working on such a huge project, and it keeps getting better and better. And
it keeps getting better, and it's quite a journey. You know,
yes.
I mean, we've been on this journey now, you and I, for over 3 years.
Over 3 years.
There was about 1.5 years of stuff. It's about a half a year of experimentation.
Yeah.
Back in 2018, then I spent all of 2019 building Unify after we'd kind of figured out what we wanted to do.
Right.
How much it costs to code? Well, since I don't have to pay anybody else, very little.
Yeah.
If I was charging John my regular rate, he'd have been broke long ago.
I'd be bankrupt.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure.
So generally, if you pay market rates, outrageously much.
Yes.
It costs to
yes.
code.
Yeah.
But
anyway, this is the music industry. There's not as much money in the music industry.
and which doesn't pay.
Yes.
Anyhow,
you do it because you love it.
It's because I love it. It's a labor of love. Anyway, yes. We were talking about, our journey on this for so the first 6 months, then into about another year of coding to build Unify.
Yeah.
But then that was Unify 1.0, basically that launched at NAMM 2020. I was there with you, and then Unify was still in a slightly rough state. Then we had it on for introductory sale price of just $59. A lot of people bought it. God bless you all. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And God bless you all for sticking with us while we dealt with a lot of issues about stability and so on. I mean, building plugins, especially a plugin or a piece of software that's a plugin and a host and does both at the same time and so on. It's a very rare product category. Many others have tried it and gone out of business trying to do it. So it is a big challenge, but it's a challenge that I think I'm kind of up to.
Yeah.
And
good stuff.
So Daniela is saying it's not medical industries. Here is the hour price, $500 per hour. Well, I never made that much, but
yes.
Anyway, and you certainly don't make that much in the music business.
No.
So we have spent the last 2 years.
Yeah.
We're into year 3 now, working on Unify, and I think as of 1.8, I think I'm finally at the point where I can say, okay, I'm not going to call it done.
Yeah.
But it's like we're out of the embryonic stage where we spent 2 years chasing stability and compatibility and a minimum set of features to support a good lot of different things for different libraries that you would create.
Yeah.
And we're still going to do more of that. But the pace will get a little slower.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be concentrating on some very specific things in 2022. One of the first ones being Apple M1 and Monterey compatibility, which some people have reported some new issues with that. So I'll be digging into that pretty much now.
Which, by the way, is not, guys, an easy process because Unify has so many plugins that all need to now be working on M1. It's not just fixing Unify. It's fixing Unify and then all of the plugins that are complementary to Unify that come with Unify. Those two have to be. So it's a big task.
Right. Somebody is asking here, Anto is asking, Shane, is that an Aria acoustic hanging on the wall? No, it is not. It is a Seagull, which is from a incredible Canadian guitar manufacturer, and it's a lovely acoustic guitar.
Yeah,
One of many. I have too many guitars.
Yeah, so a lot of people might not know this, but you rehearse. Your wife is a musician as well, so you
Oh yes,
guys are in music pretty. I
yeah.
mean, that's one of the things that makes it special, I think, is because you have a music background as well as your programming background. So a lot of the engineers that work on synthesizers are not necessarily musicians. Um,
I suspect that probably most are, at least in some way or another. For me, it's been an interesting aspect that way because um, I am a musician, but I'm not a keyboard player.
right,
I like to joke that I'm a terrible keyboard player, but I don't let that stop me. I do it anyway.
right. Well,
And
there's a lot of people that are that way. So right,
well, the thing is, we have innovations nowadays, like you can play in your DAW, then you can record and then go back and look at the timeline and fix the mistakes you made.
right, right.
Which is, obviously that's a cheat, but
No,
I've reached the point
yeah,
where
that's
I'm not proud anymore. I don't care that I'm not an
hey.
artist.
Well, you're not the only one. I do that as well. So that's part of the advantage of having it in that format.
Yes, absolutely. And the thing is, I just my forte, the thing that I put most of my time and energy into, is guitar to MIDI. Oh, I'm nowhere near that good of a guitar player.
Yeah.
Um, but is I like to perform and so on.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I think I can give a good show when I perform.
Yeah.
But I've never considered myself to be a sort of a serious musician. I don't put the kind of time into it. You want to be a really good musician, it's all about practice, 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 right? And I spend the time that a proper musician would spend practicing. I spend that coding. I work every day. I
Yeah.
work 7 days a week and
Yeah.
have done so for a very long time.
Yeah.
And just so people know, this is not, I don't consider this a simple thing to do.
Yeah.
I have been programming for over 35 years.
Yeah.
I try to be modest about my abilities as a musician and so on, but I'm not particularly modest about my abilities as a programmer. I'm very good,
Yeah.
and I'm extremely experienced. I
Yeah.
have a PhD in computer science, in fact,
Yeah.
which I got a very long time ago. But so the idea is that when people ask for things and I say, that's difficult, that's going to take a long time, etc. I'm not just blowing smoke.
Right.
If I say it's difficult, it's because it's difficult.
Right.
And however, that maybe is a good segue into what we were going to look at.
Yes. You have something to share.
I do indeed. Oh, jeez, how do I do this?
So we get requests all the time, right?
Yeah.
And people ask for features and I want this and stuff. You guys might not know this, but Shane accumulates every request and has, I believe this is up to 50 pages of requests.
Oh, 69 pages now.
69 pages now. Anything you see slashes through have been implemented into Unify. So these are the requests. We get them. Shane tracks them, documents them. It's not one of these things where like we ignore them. I mean, I kind of do because I'm not, I don't write the code and stuff, and I'm thankful that Shane does this. But the requests are extensive. Shane tracks them from multiple forum posts at our own forums, as well as on the internet, anywhere people talk about Unify. It's actually quite mind-blowingly impressive that he is watching so much of what you guys are saying about Unify and gives a damn.
Well, here's one that's fun right here. Colored keys in Show MIDI View. Somebody asked for these.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
I actually went back through this list and erased or put these little lines through the things that we've actually delivered. So I want people to realize that. I mean, I think you probably do realize that it's not like we're not paying attention to all these requests. We are paying attention to requests.
Right. We are.
And you see what I do in every case. I remember who was it said it. I keep track of the URL where they posted it, and it might be on our forum, or it might be on KVR, it might be on VI Control, and so on, all over the place. I think we probably are done with looking at that, unless there's anything in particular you want to see.
Right.
It's easier to just take that out.
Yeah. But you see, we listen. We're listening, and Shane has implemented so many of the requests. A lot of those little requests came in 1.8. So things like aftertouch on the macro knobs, all sorts of things like that were added. It's like we were done. It's like, well, I'm going through the list. I'm finding a few more things I can add in really quickly. It's like, oh,
well,
okay.
That's right. And so, Will Joseph has actually posted in the chat something really significant here. He says it must be difficult to make priorities, and it's like, absolutely, it is. That is one of the hardest things that we have to do.
Yes,
is to prioritize. We have, there's. I like to joke and say, count the hands, count the number of hours in the day. There's only, I can only work so fast.
Right.
And,
for example, we were working on our sample mapper program.
Yes.
And then 1.8 was supposed to be it wasn't even supposed to be 1.8. We were just a few maintenance things to update.
It was going to be like,
just nothing.
1.75 or something like that. So. And
then we have a library coming out pretty soon, and a request from the developer of that library. And I saw the question. Someone asked, can other programmers make libraries for Unify? And absolutely, we want that to happen. Can you quick rundown on what Unify actually is? Are free VSTs embedded in the program? Yeah, well, okay, we'll do that in a minute. So, but yes, we're hoping other people will make programs and libraries for Unify. It's open. You can put your own samples in. There's tools on the internet now for mapping samples. They save in Unify format. All sorts of things are happening for that. So, but we got a request for keys to be colored, and I talked to Shane about it, and it seemed like a good idea because for what we're working on for in March, it's going to be needed. And so a lot of the things in our updates, just so you guys realize, are powered by the libraries we want to build. We needed, Unify came out, and BlueArp could do certain things, but it couldn't do other things. And so I asked Shane I had the idea of MIDI files being able to be played polyphonically, and that turned into MIDI box, which was used to make Cloud City. Because I wanted to be able to have shaker patterns and stuff that used MIDI data for the timing instead of strict quantized. BlueArp is perfectly quantized. There's no timing whatsoever to it. And so on and on through the whole thing. Mega Magic Keys came out, and I wanted TouchOS, was it Touch Box? Trigger Box.
Trigger Box, yeah.
So as we go through this process, there's two parts to what Shane has to manage. He has to manage the requests you guys are creating, and then the requests I'm creating because it's something I want to work on for a library. So it's a juggling act, right?
Yeah, it is. And, we should also clarify something here. You said we got a request for, colored keys, okay? We've had requests for colored keys or something similar from users for a while. This particular request came from a sound designer who's building a new library. Right. And
that bumps it up in priority.
It bumps it up in priority, and that's the thing is I ask everyone for their patience and their understanding because as Will said, it is very, very difficult to make priorities, and we have to make choices that are sensible. Up until now, we've prioritized stability, bug fixes, and adding functionality that has allowed creating new libraries, new and expanded libraries, because really the core business of PlugInGuru is sound libraries, and that has never changed. We are in the software business now, but it doesn't change the fact that the heart and soul of PlugInGuru is John, is what you do, and that's creating awesome sounds. And so the idea of being able to bring in other sound designers, Touch the Universe Productions was just in the chat here, and
yes, I know of him too.
He's interested,
dude. We'd love to have you make libraries, and if you want to license them and have them protected, that is something we can talk to you guys about. One of the cool things with Unify is that libraries are protected with a license. And we haven't done a lot with third party outside of just Shane and myself, but it's not outside of the realm of possibilities to do that. And I've stopped making libraries for Omnisphere or other plugins because they show up on eBay and torrent sites in about a week, and there's no protection. So
yeah, so protecting the samples is particularly important. By the way, John, Larry Thomas is pointing out that my volume is a little bit low compared to yours.
It's as loud as I can make it.
Oh, okay, then that's fine. I'll just talk louder, guys. I just didn't want to overload you.
No, be nice and strong.
Yeah. So, it's just to ask everybody's indulgence and patience to understand that we have so many requests from so many people. Yeah. It's a lovely thing to know that people care enough about this product to ask for so many things. But we have to juggle and we have to make priorities. And so up until now, we've focused on stability and making Unify able to do really cool things for libraries, and that will still always be our focus.
Sure.
Now we're expanding a little bit into supporting other sound designers because they're coming in with new ideas that we hadn't looked at before, and we'll accommodate those as well as we can. In the meantime, I still have to deal with other things that are just thrown at us, like Apple all of a sudden decides they want to have a totally new kind of processor and they update their operating system very aggressively, and that causes all sorts of problems for plugin developers. And for the ones that have a team of 12 people, that's no problem, but for the ones where it's one guy doing everything, it's a little harder.
Yeah. And there's quite a lot of software just disappears when these things happen because someone just is moved on to something else, and all of a sudden the software doesn't work, and it's not their fault per se. It's it happens.
Yeah,
a lot.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So we are moving forward on this. I don't consider Unify to be finished. I can see that we've come 2 years now since the launch of Unify, and I have ideas for basically what we're going to be doing for over the next 2 years.
Yeah.
This is it's a journey, and we're not at the end yet.
No.
Unify is at version 1.8 now, but that first number 1 is still 1. It's the first build of Unify, and it's the 8th revision of that.
Yeah.
Compare that with Native Instruments Contact, for example, which they just shipped 6.7.
Yeah.
That's the 6th, or if you think of it, the 5th
major
rewrite of Contact,
right?
Where they've made major changes, and then the 7th revision of that. A lot of these, we're up against competition where there's all sorts of companies out there that are much better established than we are. They have plugins that have been around for years and years and years, and large teams of people working on them, or maybe not large teams of people working on them, but so it's there's a lot of challenges there.
Yeah, it's not done. Well, I know what we're doing, and I'm very excited for the future, and you guys are going to be excited for what's coming in the future. But it's going to take a while. We're at a point where we're going to kind of dig back into research in a way, I think, because some of the things we want to do are more than just a revision update thing, let's say. So wait to see what happens, but libraries there's all sorts of stuff in the works. And
okay, so before we go, so Heißluftfritteuse Infos, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that exactly, insists on posting in German, which is fine because I can use Google Translate.
Yeah.
And he's asking, can you please show how to set the colors for the keyboard? Didn't find it, the color key.
Yeah, we'll do that when we get here.
We will do that. Yeah, John will do that a little bit later.
Yeah.
It's not just something it's not just a switch that you turn on.
It's nothing in the interface.
Yeah, that's right. It's something that is set up on a per library basis, and John will be showing that very shortly. Okay, good. Yeah.
Yes. And someone's asking for the networking features. There's other things. Those are coming in the future. Those will be in a paid, upgraded version. Those are things that we are not going to be releasing for free. We've done many, many revisions, and they've all been free so far. But
Richard Olsenia says, do you see growing your team? Of course I see growing my team.
Yeah.
Or is it working at the pace you both want? No, of course it's not.
We would like to grow the team, but we need to sell a whole bunch of copies of Unify to afford to do that.
That's right. So sales of Unify drive everything, and
it's
Unify
a slow trickle.
It's sold nicely.
It's going up for sure.
You can tell it's
Anything you guys can do to help. If you can get the word out, if we have, we just passed 4,000 users of Unify, which is really awesome, but we want to be at 10,000 users, and then we can grow the team.
That'll make a big difference. Yeah. In order to grow a team, you need a budget. And now, I like to say to people, I don't hire anybody else I don't try to hire anybody else to do programming, because nobody I know who is capable will work as cheaply as I will.
Right.
And that's always the way it is when you're starting your own business. The software side of this business is mine. You work below market rate for as long as it takes. Yeah. And that's the way it goes.
Yeah. No, by saying it's not finished, it's definitely at a really usable state, but there's other things that we can incorporate. And we're not going to get into that now, but just know that we have all sorts of fun plans for Unify. So.
Absolutely. And, one of the things that we'll be doing, John mentioned it a moment ago, is a bit of product differentiation. So far, we've concentrated on adding features that don't necessarily make Unify easier for you to use, but they make it possible for people for sound designers like John and others to create new content for you. That's been our focus, that and stability and bug fixes and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Now we're starting to think about all the features that people have asked for, that make Unify easier to use, the sort of workflow features and things like having multiple outputs and MIDI output and MIDI input and all that stuff. That's great, but all those things take a lot of work, and I can't do all that for nothing.
Right.
So what we're going to do is have some sort of a paid update to Unify coming in 2022, and that will give us a different product or a different stream, if you will, of development to get some of these features in that are just for people to use. That just make it nicer to use.
Right.
You'll still be able to play all the same content and so on. No difference that way, but
right. Yeah, we got lots of work to do. It's not like although you're going on vacation for a little while. Much deserved.
Yeah, I'm going to be going out to the east coast of Canada in a few days with my wife, and we're going to be there for a couple of weeks.
It's wonderful.
Because we're actually considering moving out in that direction. And then later this summer, we're going to Switzerland and northern Italy to actually take a vacation, which was going to be our 25th anniversary vacation that
nice
was short-circuited by COVID. So,
yes, got to bring it back.
Question. Matthew Dowd says, simple question: how did you guys meet? It was that
Tinder.
I contacted you because I saw that one time you had stopped showing the little on-screen keyboard.
Yep, Show MIDI was the start.
Your libraries, your libraries for Omnisphere. This was a long time before there was any. Before there was any Unify, and I was just learning the Juice development system, and I thought, I bet you I could make one of those, and I did, and I sent it to you, and I just sent it to you as, here, from one of your fans, this is something that you might find useful for your live streams, and
right.
You got very excited and said, wow, can we put the PlugInGuru name on it, and put it at the site and everything. I said, yeah, sure, go for it. Anyway, so
that's where it started.
Then it's never stopped.
And after that, Airwave released Airwave, was it Volume 2? I think Volume 2 or 3 that used 4 MIDI controllers in every patch. And
yes, that's right. Yeah.
And Shane sent a note saying, hey, I see that Airwave just did this, and a lot of us don't have hardware with 4 controllers. I'm working on this thing. Take a look, and it has 4 real-time controllers. And that became ModMate, which is also on the website for free. That can send out, or you can actually join 4 MIDI CCs to your modulation wheel. It's very, very powerful. And, Shane is my best friend at that point. I mean, my gosh. So we started talking. Originally, the plan was for Unify to be on the iPad. It was going to be called Unify Studio at one point.
Yeah, we I think it was called, wasn't it called Guru Studio or something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
Right. We
Guru
built
Studio.
the first one for the iPad, and then we started working with it, but we realized that no, it was going to be
two things happened.
Too difficult to do.
2 things happened. Number one, I realized layering of the plugins on the iPad took all of its processing power away really quickly. And I talked to you and was explaining how it was so cool that on the iPad, other applications could see all the other plugins. So you could use this mixer plugin and you could see all the instruments that you used. And I was like, I wish you could see all of everything inside of the computer. And you're like, oh, you can do that. I've got it working already.
Yeah, I'd started to work on some of that stuff. So yeah, that's how that came about. A few questions here, by the way. Ron Molinga has asked a bit of a funny question. He said, is C++ still used today?
It is.
Yes, it certainly is. Just about every single plugin you have ever used is written in C++. Everything that requires high performance will be written in C++.
Right.
But the strength of that type of programming system for doing high-speed, performance-intensive work, unfortunately, is a bit of its weakness when it comes to doing a lot of the stuff that's visible to you, the GUI. Anybody who has done development of line of business type of applications in a typical sort of Fortune 500 company or whatever knows that there are some amazing tools for creating GUIs, just where you just basically just drag and drop, and it's lightning fast, super productive. There are other systems that have come and gone, like Borland Delphi was absolutely incredible in the day. Unfortunately, I don't have any.
Nut and juice.
I don't have any of that. There's everything on the GUI side is very laborious, very error prone, and so on. And that's one of the reasons why I've tended to hold back. The plugins, everyone's favorite plugins, all the ones with the really gorgeous UIs and so on, those are expensive to make. Specialists are involved, and those people aren't cheap.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, interface is like 2 times the time it takes to develop the technology underneath it in a lot of cases. So you just have to keep that equation in mind when working on these things. Someone was asking about libraries, and they were asking about compiling reveal sound patches. Yes. If they're your own patches, that's fine. You just have to make sure the rule with making libraries is you're not using anybody else's content. And for something, my suggestion is to first make single patches of every patch, or some of my libraries, I would make a multi, like Omnipulse 2. I made multis, and then I saved out every patch from those multis as single patches, because single patches are as valuable as big, complex, multi-layer patches. But yeah, no, please, libraries like that. You got to realize once you get to the plugins that are not huge numbers of customers, that it's less than 10% of the number of that plugins sold that are going to buy libraries. So whether you can make money doing that, it depends. If you make lots of libraries supporting something and become known for doing so, that will help. But if you just make one library and then that's it, it's going to be considered more like a splash library. And support it with more libraries and people will follow for sure. Yeah. Well, thank you. It's nice to talk. I'm going to dive into all that you have added to Unify.
Yeah, show off some cool stuff, and don't forget to show people where the presets are that might get overwritten. If for
Yes.
anybody who hasn't updated yet, just
Yes.
take a look at this, and John will show you a trick
Yes.
that might be useful to avoid losing some edits.
This is the plugin subset, my favorites and stuff, right? That's what you're referring to,
that's
Shane?
right. Yep.
Okay. We will cover that.
I'll leave you to it.
Thank you. Hands together, head bowed. Thank you for your partnership with this. It's been wonderful.
It is my pleasure, John.
Cool. All right.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Talk to you soon. Bye. That was nice. We talk literally daily. It's, I mean, it's to consider a relationship like this something close to a marriage is not. I'm going to do this. I think I've got the wrong color balance on my computer, and I'm blue. And I'm tired of being blue. So let's go over here and set this. I don't want it to change, but we're going to say automatic balance. All right. Am I still blue? I don't think I'm blue now. So that's it's about the same. Keep trying. My gosh. So, okay. So interesting. Well, let's see if I get rid of this and get this closer. I have all these lights and they're not helping out right now. So let's do this. I'm going to turn on some more lights. Go over here to the front bank. Turn you on and make you really bright. There, that's better. Get rid of the blues. I'm going to be playing moody lo-fi patches, and I don't need to be colored blue at the same time. So, yes, we are live. How's that for live? We're adjusting our camera settings in real time. Okay, so let's do this. We're just wrapped up there talking about this area of Unify. These are the plugin subsets. And when you update, if you have modified the favorite instruments and put your own plugins into this list, basically, this is a list of favorites just that I have made here. From go to alphabetical. These are all of the plugins that I currently have accessed and working inside of Unify. It's a lot of plugins. But these presets in the middle are presets I have made that you can modify. The Unify standard at the top, you can't change that. That's the default that Unify installs that gives you access to everything that's installed with Unify. And the swap all instruments gives you the folder company name view that we all know and love or don't love so much for all of the plugins that are inside of our system that Unify has scanned, right? So let's go over here to the desktop. If you go to Unify, and it's going to take a minute for my computer's hard drive probably to wake up because it's been sitting here chilling while we were interviewing. Inside of the presets folder, into the plugin subsets, here are where these files are found. If you go to instruments and you can go to favorite instruments, make a copy to your desktop before you install the 1.8 update if you've modified that. And then when you're done, you can just bring that back over, put it to instruments, and put it back in here and say replace. And that way you can get yours saved. All it is an XML document that has listed plugins that you've added to the list that are your favorites and what format they are and stuff like that, right? So that is something that will be overwritten when you update. And to those of you that lost that, I apologize. It's not a malicious thing or anything. It's just when I did this update, we've had people talking in the past about how it says swap all instruments here. And then up here, this alphabetical used to be called all instruments. And you'd have 2 all instruments. And so I was like, well, let's get rid of all instruments. So it no longer is all instruments, it's alphabetical. And this is a subset that I made that's just every plugin that I own. This doesn't mean that if you have your own plugins, you can revise this. The way to revise these subsets, as you can see, they're over here too. The ones in the middle are revisable by you. Is this little button right here, that little lines, that takes you to these subsets, and you can change between audio effects, instruments, and MIDI effects. If you go instruments, and if you click my favorite, this is that list of favorites. And if you happen to have, let's see, I don't think, oh, Faceplant's here. And I think Microtonic is here, I love. If I wanted to add something to this list, I go down the list and I go, oh, I love, well, go up here and go instrument first, INST. That will minimize the list. You can type instrument or effect, depending on what you're looking at. If you're looking at the audio effects, type effect, because every plugin is defined either by instrument or effect. And if you say INST, now it's just the instruments here. And let's say I wanted to have Chow Kick in my favorites. All I do is I click it and I say add selected. It's added to the list and I hit save. So it's very, very easy to modify these subset files. Hit close. Now when I go here, if I want, I can go here to my favorite instruments, and Chow Kick is right there, ready to be loaded up. So good stuff. All right. The interface didn't show up because my computer's weird. Sometimes it does that. Anyway, that's one thing. Now, people were talking about one of the 1.8 features, which is the color keyboard. That is something that is found over here. If you go to Unify, go to libraries. I'm going to tell you right now, I have a boatload. I've got about 150 libraries inside of Unify. If I set this to say, show me all libraries, it's a huge list because I want to show you guys, this is so cool. We have access. I have access right now to 48,368 patches inside of Unify right now for what I'm going to be showing with our little fuzzy dice up here and stuff in a minute. But going back here to the Finder, if we go to the Unify standard library folder, there is now a new folder called Key Zones, spelled key space zones. And inside of here, you will find the files that show up when you hit save. And here's your key zone setting. If I want to choose different colors, I can say purple gold. Or I could say I want to show a drum kit map. So here's a generic drum kit map. You can also see that because I was in UniLofi, it has a list of the presets that were inside of UniLofi. Like the purple keyboard was the default because I wanted to have a purple keyboard for every patch. And yes, you have to save this now per patch. It can be saved as the setting for every patch. Now to change the colors, all you do is it's a text file. Let's say we want to open up the Airwave drum kit. And here is the text file. Let me make it a little bit bigger so it's a little bit more readable. And I'm going to show you a website. There's other websites you can use. This isn't the only one that you have to use. But this is one I found that works great for this. Let me go down here and find it. Canva Wheel. It's a website for color. And you can spin to choose the color. It has complementary. It can do trio colors or 4 if you want a tetradic color set. And as you move one, it's going to complement everybody around. So you can find the color set that you want for the keys if you want to do things in a colorful way or complementary. You also have the ability to click here to get to sliders for the saturation and for the color wheels, so it will go around. If I double click, and you can use the number sign or just the hex. But if I take that, and you'll notice for this keyboard, it stops at D3 for Airwave. Like if I go over here, if I go, oh here, we can just do it this way. Airwave drum kit, Airwave. Drum kit. There's an awful lot of drum patches, but drum kit. At the beginning, Airwave Trans Deluxe. This is a drum kit that stops with space crash, right? And if we look at the text file, space crash is the words. And here, I'm going to make an entry above that that goes E3 and then 127. I'm going to use MIDI note number because you can use either one, MIDI note numbers or the note designation. Paste the color and say empty space. And I'm going to save this. Now when I call this drum kit up, it's changed it to that color and it's called empty space. So you can name each note, give it a name as well as a color. On top of that, if you look in the text document, let me clean this up a little bit. We have right here a global alpha. This is the opacity or the intensity. If I say 0.2 and save, when I call this up, these colors, instead of being 100%, are 20%. So you barely see them, as you can see, right? If I say 60%, 0.6, save, call it up, now it's at 60%. So we have a default of 50%. I wanted it to really stand out, so I made it really high. But if you say 90%, and now I call this up, I'm affecting the colors as they display. So you can edit a text file. Every note, you can go over here and change the display now to 128 keys. See how the kicks stopped at C1? So I could go to the text document and instead of the little note being C1, say 0. Save, go over here, boom. Now it shows all the way down kicks, but there's no kicks down here. So the real way I should do it is undo that and go 0 to B0. And I'll use that same blue color that I used earlier and say empty space. Empty space. Save. And now when I call this up, boom. Now you can see where the keys are, empty space, empty space. So you can make a text document now that describes the colors. And someday, like we got it to this point, the point of putting it into the interface and making it cool would have taken like 4 months to do. That's why we haven't done it. This is step 1 of putting it in as a text document. This is how you edit samples inside of Unify, is as a text document, because putting it into the interface and updating Guru Sampler and making it like Contact, that'd take a year of programming work to get the interface and get all the things implemented and get it all. It's a huge amount of work. So, like I said, the development of technologies can happen fairly quickly. The implementing into a really cool interface will take you 2, 3, 4 times as long as it did to make the ability in the first place. So, but anyway, that's how you can make your own keyboard files. Now you can save your patches and have them colored however you want them to be. Different patches in the standard library are going to be showing you different information, and not every patch in the Unify standard library is with color. Type 1.8 and it will now show you the patches that come with Unify 1.8 and I wanted to point out, for those of you that haven't updated, it's really important to remember Unify's update is a 2-step process. And I have the Mac update right here. This file right here, the PKG, will update Unify to 1.8. But right above it is the Unify 1.8 content update. This is the same as when you first install Unify, you need to install the Unify standard library.guru. There is a .guru file. Drag it over the interface of Unify. I'm going to hit cancel because I have it already installed. That is to install the patches and the presets and the settings. It's 2 steps. And a lot of people, we get tech support email all the time. I don't see the patches. I go up and I type 1.8. I don't see 17 new patches. It's because you've only done half of the update process. So make sure that you run. You can do it either by dragging over the interface or hit the settings. And right here where it's green, say select .guru file. That will take you to where you can select from the Finder find that Guru file from the update folder and select it, and it will then add the updated patches. We went through, I hired Taylor, and we spent the last week almost every day for the hours we spent in the Unify library. All the patches, I haven't done bells, I didn't do bells, keys, or guitars, but pads all have at least 4, plucks all have at least 4, strings all have at least 4, synth has at least 4 knobs, Vox has at least 4, Wind has at least 4, all the BPM patches, all the bass patches, but I still need to do bells. It's so much work to update them, but we'll keep working on that. There'll be probably one more patch update, if nothing else, to add that ability. But we edited something like over 400 patches in this update to add real-time controls. I sweetened a couple patches. Just one of the pluck patches, I wanted it to sound a little better. For the most part, the goal was knobs, don't change the sound. And don't change anything that's existing there for the most part, in most cases, in case you're automating with it. But that might not be the case in every patch. I don't know. But we did that because we love the library and we just want it to be more usable for everybody, right? So let's see. I need to check. Can you set a default color for the keys? No. That's something maybe we will add as an update because I think people will want to have the ability to do that. I would want to have the ability to do that. So maybe we'll sneak that in a little quick update to change what the keyboard looks like by default. We did change what the keyboard looks like by default for the green. I wanted a little bit more complementary green instead of a lime green. So we changed that for the keyboard inside here. But there, you know. Yeah, next version we can do that. Just get me over the 42,000 hump, and then it's no longer a big issue. You know, it's when you get close to those big numbers. But subscribe if you can. Thank you for watching. Other things we added. One of the cool things I'll keep Show MIDI because there's times where I'm on the knobs and stuff like that. So this is Show MIDI running underneath it, which is a free MIDI effect plugin we made. The first thing Shane did for us here at PlugInGuru, which was to give us a keyboard so you can see the keys. Because, yeah, there was an update to Logic Pro where the little keyboard in the environment stopped working. And so for a whole bunch of live streams, I didn't have a keyboard, and people were sad they couldn't see the keys being played. But let's see. We'll do this first. One of the really useful, cool areas that got updated is right here, the search browser. When you go to authors, for the programmers, it now is per library. So if we go to something like Unified Labs, this is a library I've invited all of you guys to work on before. So there are all of these programmers that worked on this library. But if I change this to something like Cloud City up here at the top, a whole different set of programmers that worked on this library show up. So it's now library specific. I only worked on Mega Magic Pads 2, so it's only, I was playing this today, by the way. I got to just play this because this is such a cool patch. But let's see if we're on here. Is one of the BPM pads right here. The Z BPM pad Manta Ray Parade was so cool. I was like, oh my gosh. Isn't that cool? Love it, love it. Anyway, so the search is now specific for categories, tags. If you go to Cloud City, it's only going to show you the categories that show up in this library. If I go to a unified library for Diva, it's going to show the library of tags that are available for that plugin. And if you click one, we now have a clear button that will get rid of what you selected for that. So I could say tags, I could say authors, I could clear just one part of this or clear both of those without having to hit reset, because when you hit reset, it goes to all libraries, right? So no longer do you have to go to all libraries view if you don't want to. If you search on a specific thing, you now have a clear button here. On top of that, if you were to be inside of the standard library, and you can click right here, and instead of all, you can go by name, category, tags. Say I want to say warm. Now I'll show patches that have a tag of warm. And I can see things that way, which is really, really cool. And this is a mono select, which means if I select name, it deselects tags. If I say all, it just automatically selects everybody. However, if you right click on this, instead of all, it says multi, and now you could say name, right click again to choose name, right click again, and you can do it this way to select specific categories. So if you right click, you can get to multi. If you just single click, you can get to where you have all in different settings. It's really exciting. We do have, as you can see, all of the unified libraries, and we're thrilled. I was able to talk to the guys at Kilohearts this last week and got their blessing for Phase Plant, which is just a kick butt synthesizer. I don't know if you know about this, but let's see, I'll show you the website because there's like 2 days left. Let's see here. It'll take a second because I'm on the web, of course, surfing like crazy. There's, I believe, a short period of time left at audio plugin deals. You can get Phase Plant and 3 libraries, which is normally $259 for $99. There's 2 days and 9 hours left. Killer synth. It's very much like Unify in its design. It's modular. It's got 3 audio lanes. Unify expands a little bit with some of the way that we do our effects and so forth. We have 4 auxiliary buses, and every instrument layer has its own auxiliary and insert effects. But this is a great synth. It's able to get into the cool digital sounds. The interface is incredible for showing what's going on. I could set this to legato and unison and all that kind of stuff. We have 2 libraries from them, the 561 patch factory library, and then there's this gratis library that is patches made by, it was an anniversary library they released for free, created by popular programmers. There's some huge, crazy sounds. Yeah. Because it's modular, you can add oscillators until it's got an awful lot going on, and I play one note and freeze it, right? This would be a great case for why we would use Polybox, because Polybox, our MIDI effect, would let us play multiple layers, each on its own CPU core. I do know Phase Plant is multi-core savvy, so I don't know how it would work, so I'm not going to try it out right now, but great synth. You got 2 days left of it on sale, just so you're aware. But we're thrilled to have Phase Plant in the house. Also, in the unified front, MiniMonsta was updated. It had a second page of assignments that weren't relevant to it, and they weren't assigned to parameters. So I have gone through and resonance wasn't connected to resonance. And be careful with resonance. It can get quite serious. Just like a mini Moog, it can rip your head off. So this is a great plugin. I think it's still on audio plugin deals or somewhere for $29. Let's see if we see the deals. I don't see it in the list anymore. It might be off the list. Let's see, gotta go audio plugin deals. And the website's slow because I have see. Let's see, do they? Yeah, I don't know if it's on sale anymore. It was on sale for a crazy price for a while. It's not compatible with M1 computers. Be aware that if you do try to use MiniMonsta on your M1 computers in native mode, it doesn't work. And I don't think it works in Monterey. So be careful there. If you're using a newer, I'm not using a newer operating system, so it works just fine here. But anyway, we have all the libraries. We did an update. The last one to 1.7 gave us the ability to go to a subset page here where you could create subsets of your libraries, because at this point I have so many libraries available. I can now, and you can see it this way, or if you close this, you can just right click on the little dash dash, and this is the same as the load page. So I can say display just the factory library, and now it only shows 2 libraries and only 628 patches. If I click on the subset here and I say all libraries, it will change to show all libraries in 48,368 patches. So the ability to create a subset, not of instruments or effects, but of your libraries, is now possible thanks to the little dash dash button right here. The dice. Let's talk about the dice. Let me make sure. I'm going to follow the chat for a second, see what you guys are talking about. This is being unified. Real bias here. No more Valentine deal. Okay, so is it? Yeah, phase plant. Yeah, it's phase plant can go places that are pretty cool. Yeah, to be clear, in order, so let me explain the library layout, because you see a lot of libraries, right? So the unified libraries, there are 56. These are incredible. I consider this to be kind of like the NKS that Native Instruments done, but actually is usable. Because things are so fast to load. It doesn't, every time you try to load a patch in NKS, it has to reload the plugin. It becomes very cumbersome. It's kind of clunky, but this works really well. All of these plugins have been unified. So I can go to Kinephonium. I could choose a really cool bass patch or whatever I wanted from here. This is a patch I was honored to be able to be a part of the programming team on, and it's super cool synth. Right? I have to own Kinephonium. And so without owning the plugin, the unified libraries don't work. Okay? So unified means, now some of these are free. Spitfire Labs is a free plugin from Spitfire Audio that you can download. You get their application to install things. They have made all of these libraries available for free, and it's a no-brainer. You all should own this, because they started with their soft piano, which is a beautiful felt piano. It'll take it a second to load. Some of these are free, like this is free. There's others in the list. If you go to the PlugInGuru's the Unify page, go Unify Standard. Right here, you can see the list. Scroll down the page, and starting right here is it's 56 now, I think. But all of the unified libraries are here. Some, like Newfangled Audio, the Pendulate is free, so that's a free synth. Just download and install it. Make sure, in most cases, the one thing that hangs people up with this is that you have to have the VST2 version of the plugin installed, because we use the VST2 format. It's the most compatible between PC and Mac for most everything you see. So all these unified libraries, X for Records Serum, is here. Have to own Serum, but if you have Serum, now you can go down here instead of normal, set this to Unify layers, and any other patch I choose is added. As a new layer of that plugin. Let's see, I have some other, I worked on Serum, so there's some cool. That's 3 Serum patches playing at once. That's the joy of Unify, is that all of these libraries you can combine, and it just gets truly sick in a moment. So unified libraries are libraries for plugins that are typically the factory patches. Dune 3 is here. We have, I mean, the list just gets crazy. Pigments is here. So many great synthesizers are represented with unified patches. So you have all of those to play with. Above this, you get to all the PlugInGuru libraries. These are all my Omnisphere libraries that I sell at my website. You need to own the plugin, and then when you buy these libraries, it comes with Unify patches. So that means you could go to something like Omnipulse. This is a library of nothing but BPM patches that I made for Omnisphere. So you have to own Omnisphere, and then you buy the Omnipulse library, and now I can choose Funky Chunky, and it'll take it a second because it's got to first load Omnisphere, but it will load Omnisphere, and then it loads the patch. And I could go over here to load from Unify layer. I could choose any other patch. And it will load too. And I could go here to this guitar patch and they work. I could go to another library. One of the unified libraries is Nylon Sky, one of the extensions that came with, that you can buy for Omnisphere from Spectrasonics. And I could go over here to the BPM guitars, and since I'm still on Unify layers, I could say Dreaming of Venice, and it will add Option, hold down Option or Alt, and you can turn everybody down. This way I can get Dreaming of Venice a little bit louder. I'm playing 4 Omnisphere patches without going through the tedious browsing and all the patches and loading and trying to go to multi-mode and turning it so it's multi-timbral. And it's all using one processor in Omnisphere. So trying to play these 4 patches like this, you couldn't do this in Omnisphere. It's physically impossible unless you have a very powerful computer. But Unify, each layer is a thread to your processors. So it's 4 discrete processor threads for 4 discrete layers of instruments. And I can play all the voices I want. And my computer's just happily chipping along. And then what's fun, go to something like Cloud City. Let's change this. I want to load a drum groove. So I say Unified Drum. I could go to all the BPM drum patches, like the hip skip patches or the stuff like this here. Let's load Dirty Dog Kick. So I just click, it adds it as a layer. Now I'm going to show you the fuzzy dice. The way the fuzzy dice works is that it will randomly select from whatever is shown here. So I want to minimize this. I'm going to say BPM perk up here. BPM perk. So it shows only perk, and then I'm going to take it down even further by going down here to categories and saying BPM drum. Oh, no. Perk. There. That way I bring it just down to a handful of let's see, right? There's just one thing here. Now, when I click the fuzzy dice, it has 63 patches it can choose from. Boom. It adds it because this is set to Unify/drum. It added a clave. Nice. Click the dice again while I'm playing. I like this. You never know what you're gonna get with the fuzzy dice. That's the fun of it. So. And if you don't want it, if it like chooses the wrong thing, just click right here and say delete that layer. Click the fuzzy dice again, see what we get this time. Touching the sky. You will find that it's going to give you all sorts of who knows what combinations. There's a shortcut for deleting patches. So I could say delete. Now let's click the fuzzy dice again, see what we get this time. Oh, Woody. Shaker. I like that. Another shaker. Okay, so let's pan these left and right. And the one on the left side's a little loud. Let's go up here and bring up some volumes. It just opens up all sorts of fun doors that it's gonna like add things randomly based on what is shown in this list. So if you haven't seen it, I did a 1.8 video and I show you a number of examples of this. It's really, really fun. We're gonna open this up to all 150 libraries because I wanna try something. We'll see what happens, but I'm gonna go to something like one of the big categories. Let's say BPM ARP. So let's say BPM ARP. And I can look at the list and see, that's pretty good. If I want, I could go to the categories and choose. Here's all the categories that all of these libraries are giving me access to. Let's see if we find something interesting here. Let's just say ARP. Okay, that cuts it down to 826 patches. So we hit init and change this to normal for the first random selection. So we're gonna start off with a Dune 3 patch. Remember, it's selecting from all of these frickin' libraries, 826 patches. Let's go over here and change this to be add as a new Unify layer. Click the fuzzy dice. What did I get? Another Dune 3 patch. Now, there's a cool thing here. If you want, we have a new option on the load page, instrument 1 only. Because for the most part, for most of the unified libraries, it's only one instrument. And this way, it's not embedded in Unify. Let's try that. That way I can also see what it's loading. Omnisphere. That's cool. Click the dice again. Two Omnisphere patches. And it loaded up Guru Sampler. Okay, let's say delete that. Dice again. Mini Razor. So it's choosing between over 50 plugins and over 48,000 patches that have been minimized down to 826. It's still giving me I have 5 patches. I'm going to show you a really, really fun thing, okay? Let's go to page 2. Let's look at this linked parameter knob. And I'm going to go through each one of the 5 and turn on MIDI enable. And what this allows me to do is turn on and off all 5 of these. Let's do it for all 3, 4, and 5. Now, I could have set them up on 5 different knobs, and then you could control them independently, combining them. But I'm going to do it in a different way. I want to show you something cool. If you right-click on here, you can say Load Curve Presets, and we have all these curve presets up to 5 steps. And I'm going to say step 1 of a 5-step curve for the first one. Right here, Load Curve Preset. I'm going to say step 2 of a 5 curve. I'm going to say, go over here to layer 3. Each one of these has a curve. And as you can see what I'm doing, right? We're going to end up with a knob that can cycle between 5 different patches. So it's not necessarily about playing all 5 at once, but now I have 5 variations, step 4 of 5, and then the last one is going to be load 5 of 5. And then let's go, at this point, I'm going to break out of my fuzzy dice haze for a moment. I'm going to clear everything, and I want to go to the drums, and I'm going to go to the rolled percussion grooves, and I want to say BPM perk, and I'm going to set this to drums, and I'm going to choose like something like shakers and congas, and then I'm going to go to BPM hip skip and choose something like simple street, and now I have a patch I'm changing between the patches. So I'm now using different elements one at a time. And you can actually hold down notes and they'll keep playing. Until your processor poops out. But that's what you can do now in Unify. It's not necessarily about playing all of them at once. You can set up these really cool combination things. So the possibilities of what you can do are really, really exciting, insane stuff. So we can help you randomly select patches. What I love, and I said this in the video, it will help you because we all have way too many patches. Most of us will never play every patch, even in Omnisphere by itself, that we own, right? So this random gives us the ability that it's just going to randomly select from a pool of patches to get, who knows what it's going to pull out for you. You'll be using patches you had no idea you even owned. That's what's so fun about this. So hope that gets you guys excited. It's fun possibilities that you can play with to do crazy, 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 crazy things. So I want to point out, if we wanted, let's say, in this patch, let's see, let's get over here. I'm going to go over here, and inside of Dune 3, I think, let's see if he's got an effects bus on. And there's reverb. I want to change that wet dry mix of the reverb of effects bus 1. So I'm going to go over here to linked parameters, and I'm going to hit the plus button. I'm going to go instrument 1. Here's all my layers. I could see every plugin that's in Unify right now. Here's Dune 3. Here's every parameter. I'm going to go down the list. I don't know if you can see because it's taken over the whole screen to get to this, but effects 1, here we go, delay, effects 1, I saw reverb for a second there, reverb, wet, dry, right? Wet, no, where is it? Here we go, reverb, wet, dry mix. I've added it, so now, I'm adding reverb from Dune on the knob. And it's also changed the filter cutoff. But instead of doing it by CC1, I'm going to right click. In Unify 1.8, we added Aftertouch. So now I'm using Aftertouch. So I can use Aftertouch on a knob. Let's say I want this also to be listening to Aftertouch. Multiple knobs. Can be listening to the same Aftertouch. If you want. So Aftertouch has been added to a real-time control. 1, 2, this is 4. Now, this is saved per patch, or not per patch, but globally for the CC's assignments. So if you set this and you quit, it's going to come back the same way. Another big thing added in Unify for standalone, as you can see, if I'm in standalone right now, I have a little tiny red slider up here now, right? This gives me control over volume, so I can change the mix to be whatever I want it to be for the global output. And if I right click on this, I can save this as a default, which means that from now on, when I call up the Unify standalone, it will be set at that volume. So for some people in certain situations, if you're live, you need to turn down the volume or something like that. It's possible to do that kind of stuff and save it. One last thing, and then I'm going to get to showing you the Lo-Fi library. Go to the Unify standard library. We now have the ability to embed images and HTML either into Unify or externally calling up a web page. There's only one patch that shows this right now. There's stuff in the works that you will see in the coming months that uses this in other cool, creative, crazy ways that you guys are going to flip when you see what's going on. But this patch. Welcome to Unify. The future is here, my friends. If you click, see the little blue around the image graphics? If you click that. Welcome to Unify. The future is here, my friends. You have a picture of the universe. And this is, again, something that you do inside of your desktop with text files. So you would, in this case, go to libraries. We have it in the Unify's, in the, not this, the user library, but the standard library. There's a folder you need to have called media in your library folder for whatever library. If you're building your own custom library, you have a folder called media. Inside of here, you have a file called links.txt. And inside of here, you have the ability to, as you can see, put in this information. When it calls up arrival-0-welcome to Unify, that's the name of the patch in Unify. So if I wanted this to call up another patch, let's say 3 a.m. jam bass, go to the save page, copy this, cancel, and then I would go to images and let's do this. I'm going to put something into a photo. I'm going to put something into this. I'm not going to show you what the picture is. So it's going to be a surprise, but it'll be nice, I promise. Let's go over here to Unify Standard Library. I'm opening the library in another desktop window so you can't see it. So I can put this image in here. And I'm going to put this. And let's see. I don't want it to be to a bass patch. This has to be something pretty. So let's say a BPM pad. Oh, we'll do one of the wave sequence patches, right? Because I made wave sequencing is something we can do inside of here. Maybe writing new waves. No. There's a BPM key patch that I made. Piano Sanctuary, perfect. So, select, copy this, and I'm going to go back to my text. I'm going to say, I want this patch, and I want it to be this image. Save. Next time I call up Piano Sanctuary, it's got the little blue box around it. Click this. Uh-oh. What did I do wrong? Oh, images. I put it in the wrong place. Oh, I didn't put in the whole, I had put in the images / and then the file name. Save. So it's looking for a web HTML file. So, okay, get out of the way now. Now it will work. We got to call it up one more time. This is a photo I took 7 years ago today. Showed up in my feed. So now you can do more than look at an interface. So that is a new ability we have added. We want to grow this. This is just the start of a vision I have for Unify with graphics and sound. But to be able to see more than just knobs and stuff, but to see something nice. And to make this work, just so we're clear, I had to put this JPEG into a folder called images in the media library. So there's two things. There's the links.txt and then the folder, and the folder name is what you're going to use for right here for the images / that tells it where to look to find the image, or it could be an HTML document. It'd just be .html. And as you saw, since if I didn't have this and I just had this, now it thinks it's going to be calling up an HTML document. So instead I get a whole page. This could be a YouTube video and information about some place in the Galapagos Islands that I was at. I mean, there's all sorts of possibilities of where this is going to go. It's really exciting, but this is step one. Got to start somewhere. Images / save. And now when I call it up, pictures. And it will try its best to scale based on how large you make the image. So this is a nice big image. So if I had this all the way up like this, then it's huge. Okay, so graphics are in Unify in a kind of cool way. And you can embed your own images with your own sounds. So many of us that make sounds are also photographers or graphically oriented, I guess you would say. And so I encourage all you guys that are thinking of making libraries for Unify, you can take your vision even farther now and incorporate images if you want, stuff like that. Yeah, that's Oregon. That's Oceanside. It's about an hour and a half from here. Beautiful place to go. Been there many times. It's one of my favorite beaches. So yeah, so that's incorporated into Unify as well. So I think that's most of the biggies. I did point out there's a change log if you want to see the whole list of unified changes. This is the change log. These are all the things added in this update. There's a global volume control. Oh, one thing that's really cool, when you use this in your DAW, the patch name shows up. When you load a Unify layer, if I go in here and I say I want to load a drum kit, I want to load this. See how it says the name of the drum kit here? If I open up this Unify layer, and if I go through the library and I go, no, I want it to be Redhead. This is now changed to say Redhead for the layer. So it now is smartly updating itself as you're loading things up so you can get back to what you did and what was there. Let's see, BPM drum, Airwave kit would be cool. Okay, so you can read that changelog at any time. Go down the list if you want to see the things: key zones colored, link media, patch browser changes, Guru sampler. By the way, I want to point out, I can't say his name properly, but Bjorn's sample mapper is a tool, free, that's actually multiple applications for Windows or Mac OS that let you map samples across the keyboard, and it will now save out in Unify SFZ file format, which is wonderful, so that you can use this to get your own samples into Unify. Be aware the Guru sampler does not stream, meaning if you have a 5 gigabyte something, it's going to take 5 gigabytes of RAM to load it. If I go up here to Mega Magic Keys, this is a library I did where I sampled my mom's pianos. Let's see, all the way at the top. Mega Magic Keys, go to loading normal, and let's clear all of our search stuff. If I say loading the grand, this is loading about 1.5 gigabytes of samples into memory to play. The piano that I sampled of my mom's piano at night while they slept. And what's fun with this library is you can go over here to say load into new layer. This is the reverb. This is the Mega Magic library. Mega Magic is the concept of having reverb. So I could say I could want the grand piano, but only the soft piano reverb. And now I have that on a separate layer. Isn't that nice? And if I want, I could say, no, I want to even like use a felt piano. I recorded a U1 upright with the felt. So I could go over here to Mega Magic 1, reverb only. Well, here, let's do it this way. So if I actually load up the Mega Magic, here's the felt piano with the reverb layered. So it's nice and, oh, I want to just be on normal load. I don't want to do it that way. Then it's beautiful sound. it loads it into memory. So if I was to look at my memory footprint, this is a pretty heavy footprint because each of these layers is calling up quite a few full-length, non-looped samples of my mom's piano. Okay. You said you were going to show us the lo-fi piano. Yes. Yes. So we have time. I'll stay an extra 30 minutes to show you the lo-fi piano, lo-fi piano library. So if we go over here to PlugInGuru, UniChill is the first library Matthias created. UniLofi is the new library that just was made available. It is 250 incredible patches. Let me show you real quickly a few of the fun things. These are just to give you the vibe. There's some really great things in here for those of you that don't play piano. These and the BPM sequence patches are MIDI files. They transpose with MIDI box. Go to A Perfect Night, and this is really cool. Whole different vibe. Right? There's so many really cool. The vibe is just like, I need to turn the lights down low. The sound designers in this library is Matthias Sawa and myself. If you go to the authors, there's just two of us. And so he did all of these. The majority of the library is by Matthias. In a Dream is just incredible. Like, I'm gonna hear this on the radio pretty soon. The vibe is incredible. Go over here and change this to load with the drum option. Let's go to the lo-fi drums, BPM drum lo-fi. And I'll show you a cool trick. The drum groove, notice how it's got a crash cymbal every time? Open up Unify, go to MIDI box, and we have the ability to choose how many measures it loops and what measure it starts at. So it's always starting at 1. Change it, let's say measure 5. No more crash. But it will crash when it comes around after 4 measures, which is nice. There it is. Now let's go over here. Let's add something else. We can keep it on BPM drum and go to bass. Let's choose Protonic. Because it's 3 patches, let's turn it down a little bit. So just hold down Option. Now, each of these Unify layers has knob assignments for reverb and distortion and doing all sorts of cool things. You can go over here to this little dot on the knobs and say, add embedded Unify links to all. And boom, it will take all the layers and assign all their assignments for everything for all 3 layers. So now, I'm immediately able to control the knobs for everything. This is velocity for the drum grooves. This is speed. And this can all be automated in real time in your sequencer. And as you notice, even with the speed, it always comes back to being locked to time. Most things that have an ARP, if you play with the time, like Omnisphere or something like that, it's completely freaked out. It's gone. It's no longer in sync. This. All right, so there are so many patches. I made a video last night. It's 1 hour and 8 minutes long where I play every patch in the library. Please check it out. It's a wonderful library. Let me show you some of my favorites because there's so much to this library. All the BPM drums, the vibe of the drum kit. I made the drum kit. This is my own samples. It's very lo-fi. I purposefully made it sound unimpressive, but it's all at the same flavor. So you got this great vibe. And it's a great contrast exactly to Unichill. So if you own Unichill, they're incredible together. Let me show you, there's 27 key patches. These alone are like just gold. If you do anything in these vibe things, Lo-Fi Roads, I made this patch. And it's using FM from DX, but I made a new electric piano. I played with the harmonics of the operators to get it to not be your typical ear candy frequencies you hear from FM. Right? So there's 27 pianos. The In a Dream pianos. No new samples for these. These are just samples inside of Unify, just pulled up and presented in a really beautiful way. Little bit of Chow tape model, which takes it. Here's without tape model. Just makes it slightly imperfect. And if you want to open this up, you can make it far more. Go to degrade. Turn this on, bring up the depth. Then bring up the envelope. I asked him to add an envelope follower and he did. So now, when you don't play, it's no longer just sitting there hissing at you, which it can do if you want. But you can have it so it will follow the sound that you play. But this is a just beautiful, beautiful library. All the keys, the guitars. Oh my goodness, guys. These guitars are just... And because this is a Mega Magic sample, It's got the reverb in the sample, so it rings out. The wahs are incredible for... Go over here, let's set this to drum. Let's get a little combo going. Let's go up here, get a BPM drum groove going. Like, live the rhythm. And let's do this. Let's have the guitar. There's so many ways to change split zones. The most obvious is right here is your low note and your high note. So just click and drag. But you can also right click on this and choose C. And then I'm gonna go up here to bass. Let's say I wanna add a bass like Jackie, and I'm still on unified drum, which is fine for these. Click, and I'm gonna say for the high note for the bass to stop at B, and now, right? So it's really easy for these patches to be turned into splits, layers. I could go up here to the keys. Let's have a piano. Let's do one of the Dream pianos in a Dream 2. Down here to pads. There's some really cool string pads, actually cool strings. I mean, it's so fun in this genre. And so many other genres love mellow, warm. Just think of it like the most warm bath with bubbles you can hop into. And that's what this library is all about. It's just... And then changes to add layers and like add another pad to this, like Awakening. And let's add some early machine choir. And now it's even cooler. I mean, it's very inspiring. It just came out. It has an introductory price that will last until March 1st. So Matthias has programmed patches for other companies, for hardware synthesizers and stuff. He's an accomplished sound designer. It's a joy to work with him. About a year ago, he released UniChill. There's one that's really fun that has, let's see, birds. Rainbirds. So check this out. I was in Costa Rica like 4 years ago with my daughter and recorded all these ambiances of these incredible places. And they are in Unify. And it's birds and environmentals and It's like the start of a bonobo track, right? Like, I take this whole thing down an octave. Check this out. I love how you can right click on multiple layers and say C. And then let's go over here to everything and let's say bass, because there's some amazingly cool basses, and say change to Unify layer, and let's say FM short, and let's say OB sync and Atmos. Select all three of these to be right there, and I have a drone in here. Yeah, okay, Atmos. Let's not have Atmos. It's the wrong vibe. So notice how Unify opens up, finds the lo-fi library out of all those libraries, shows me the patch so I could choose. There we go. Right? So lots of fun here. It's really, really cool. Hello, Gerhard. Good evening to you, wherever you are. Takes control personally of his site and hosts. Oh boy, my voice. Maybe I'll have a little kombucha hit. Love kombucha, by the way. Just got introduced to them a little while ago, and boy. All natural, zippy like soda. Try their golden pineapple if you want something that will wake up your taste buds. No sugar. It's all great. Yeah. All right, any questions? A Wikipedia page. Oh, that'd be really cool. Thank you. Yeah, we haven't done that. Yes. So, any questions I can help with before we end this live stream? It's been really, really fun to have you guys along. Unify is insane. Yeah. That is true. One cool thing with Unify is that you can install plugins and they are immediately available. You don't have to restart the application or anything like that, which is really cool. By the way, there's a free plugin. Let me see if I can. I was going to show you guys this. See if I can find it. There's a company called LVC Audio. They have a really cool plugin called Clip Shifter that is free. They have a more pro version called Clip Max you can buy that is really, really cool. It does a really cool specific thing for music, for more dance productions and stuff like that. So let's do this. Let me call up something from Cloud City that's got a lot of production stuff going on. One of the BPM splits. Like maybe one with water. Oh, I'm loading as a Unify layer. Let's go back to just one with water and so ULV audio. Go down here to ULV audio. that right? No, LVC. Sorry, got my letters wrong. LVC audio. This plugin allows you to clip the attacks, bring up the body. You can really squash it, but it allows you to get just a little bit extra gain and smooth transient attacks. Really helpful, and you can scale it so you can see more what you're cutting back. See how I'm cutting down all those attack transients? That's really handy. Without it, hear how it makes it fuller? Really, really nice. And then if you like that, make sure you support them and get some of their other plugins that they've made. They've got some great stuff. I don't own any of the other things, but I'm really impressed with them. And I just want to point that out as a freebie at the end of the show. For mastering, that's really nice to be able to just, it doesn't take much, like even 2.5 or 3 dB off the top of your master channel of a track. Will definitely tighten up your mix just a little bit. It's wonderful. Very, very well done. Love it. So how much money and how many coders would it take to support embedding the top 50 free synths effects? Well, the problem you have to realize is there's maintenance and update and support for plugins once they become part of a system like Unify. And so we've been very, very selective about the plugins that are included with Unify. We kind of like picked the most stable. They've been around a while. They're free. There's not a whole lot of people actively updating on it, like a Surge or something like that is great. And you can add Surge, and it's one of our unified libraries for a really, really cool synthesizer. But we're not going to put that into Unify. There's no way we would put that into Unify because it's being dynamically updated all the time by multiple people. And so Surge is a free synth. We have a unified library. I recommend everybody get it because it's just great vibe. So many forms of synthesis in it, and it's super CPU efficient. But we're not going to put anything else into Unify on the free side just to put it in because it's free. Because like this thing with the M1 processors from Apple, Shane has to go through and make every one of these plugins, the MDA plugins, everything has to go cleanly through the M1 test. So that means all of our audio effects as well. So all of these audio effects have to be one at a time updated to M1 compatibility. That's why it's going to take a little while to do that. It's not just a click of one effect and it's done. So there's no way on the planet I want to add 100 more effects to that list, because that just means Shane and myself are responsible for them. And you can add them to Unify, and you can make a library and say, in order for this library to work, you have to have this plugin, and people can go download it. And that way it's not something we have to manage. And, you know, it's kind of like we're shepherds, and each plugin is a little sheep, right? And if that sheep gets out of the pasture, you got to go get it and bring it back in. So anyway, the work that Shane has to do just to get to M1 compatibility is extensive. So I'm glad we're where we are. We have so many cool tools to work with, but no. Yeah, shout out to Shane. Thank you, Shane. So good. Thank you for staying for this whole time. Let's do our shout outs and call it a day. I'm so thrilled to see all of you guys. It's been a great show. Shout out from Portland, Oregon. It's going to be cold this coming week. Be safe. The middle of the week, it's supposed to get into the 20s here. So it's crazy, crazy, crazy. Big shout outs. Yeah, totally. Yeah. Cool. Also, if you have any technical questions, let me type in our email for tech support. It's Unify support at PlugInGuru.com. Yeah. So thank you all for joining. So good to see you. Let's see, where are we getting shout outs from? From Belgium, Liverpool, Springfield, Illinois, Amsterdam, Misha, hello, Louisville, Colorado. Cool, David. I didn't know you were in Colorado. From Orlando, Lancashire. I want to go to the UK. Make Unify videos and write Unify articles. Yes. Spread the word. Any way you can to let people know would be appreciated. The more copies of Unify sold, the better the chances we can grow our little company to do what everything wants to do. Everybody wants everything, you know. Update it often or at all would be preferred. Yeah, well, you know, Apple kind of does this to all of us. My gosh. And they're such a behemoth that you can't ignore it. You can't ignore M1 because everybody's buying these incredible MacBook Pros and they want to run Unify on it. And it's not the smoothest process right now in native mode. So we have to. Thank you. Thank you, Universe. Hey, send an email to me or to the contact, our Unify support at pluginguru.com. And I will get in contact with you and we can talk about ways to work on libraries because customers of Unify buy libraries. You guys are awesome. And I sincerely thank you because I couldn't do this if people didn't buy libraries and buy all that stuff. Houston, right on, brother. Good to see you, my friend. Houston is someone that is just a dear friend for many, many, many years. And he is going to be working on a library in the future too, I believe. So I can't wait to see what he comes up with. Apple should include Unify in their OS. Oh, I would love that. If they want to buy us, let's talk. Yeah. The only problem, I don't know. One of the cool things with Unify is that we're cross-platform. And so for a lot of people in the churches are starting to switch to use Unify instead of MainStage because presets made for Unify will work on PC and Mac, and people in all sorts of other countries can't afford to buy an Apple computer, and Unify works. And we have a pretty big group of church people using Unify because it is capable of doing many of the things that you would use MainStage for, and the patches will work for their people and the other churches and PCs and Macs. So if Apple buys us, they're known for stopping support for Windows, and I'm not a fan of that. Why is it so important to be cross-platform? Because Apple is expensive. And in America, we're willing to pay $2,000 for a laptop. You go to Ecuador, they don't have $2,000 for a laptop. And there are so many churches using PCs because they can't afford an Apple computer. And also, if you look at the percentage of people using computers for music, it's something like 65% are on PCs. Far more people might even be higher than that, are on PCs than a Mac. So Mac it's growing. It's definitely growing in the last couple of years because of what Apple's been doing right. But for a while there, it was declining pretty severely. So most of the people, quite a few people in this list are on PCs. And so we have no plans to support just one platform. It'd be easier. Well, yeah. 90% for total computer use. But when you get to music, there's more of the creatives that use Apple computers. So the number's higher. It's definitely higher. Yeah, it's a high percentage that's high for PCs. Okay. Bless you all. We will see you next Saturday. We'll be here doing it again. We do it every Saturday from 12 to 1:30, and I'm over by 34 minutes because I love you guys, and I'm happy to hang and show you. All the good things you can do. It's just, I love the fact I could say all libraries, hit the fuzzy dice, and it's choosing between 48,368 patches. That's just nuts. For it to like choose a patch, it's gonna take it a minute to load. Who knows what it's found? Oh, see what it finds. Oh, it's something from, oh, SE Station. One of my, I mean, I'm proud of so many libraries, but one of them that is really just mind-blowing is the BBC Discover Station library that we sell. If you realize that this is able to take and load up all of the instruments of the string section or the brass or the woodwinds or all three and let you play them, it'll take a minute to load because of how their plugin works, but you've got the basses, cellos, violas, violins, 1 and 2. I mean, it's just nuts. And if you go to Orc, and you say like Insta score, this loads up all the strings, all the brass, all the woodwinds. I think it's like 25. Each one of these is a Unify layer of all of these various parts of the library and piano. Let's see here. If I go, where are all of the magical motion brass strings and winds? So this is gonna load up some strings and winds. Take a minute to load the winds. And then you get to the BPM stuff with arpeggiators and you go BPM arc. This is like loading up strings, winds, and brass, each with MIDI boxes playing different. Wake up, woodwinds. They'll show up in a minute. They're late. They had a late lunch. They still haven't loaded. Okay, what's going on with the woodwinds? They will load. It's just going down the list, and wins are W's, so they have to load last. One more time. Kickstart him. It's taking a while. They're playing. It's supposed to be playing. Well, yeah, so but anyway, it's such a great library because it works with the BBC. Oh, there they are. Now they're waking up. It just fun stuff. Anyway, I could get lost playing libraries all day. Can't do that. All right. Cheers to you all. I will see you next week. Thank you for joining us for this live stream. It's been fun. Hands together, head bowed. See you next week. All right. I'm going to just chill this week because I've been going to bed at 3 every night for the last 3 weeks. So it's time to rest. So enjoy. Labor of love. We love what we do. Enjoy.